Hello, my dear students. A very warm welcome to all of you in Shri Jayendra Rank Zone. I am your friend and mentor for the subject Business and Commercial Knowledge. In this lecture, we'll continue with Business Chapter 2, that is Business Environment. All the concepts will be covered in the coming series of lectures. This is lecture number 3. Let us begin. In the last lecture, we have discussed elements of microenvironment, where we have discussed the microenvironment elements is bifurcated into competitors, organization itself, suppliers, market, intermediaries, and customers. Today, we're going to start from the elements of macro environment. Elements of macro environment. Macro environment is that part of external environment which is largely external to the enterprise and thus beyond the direct influence and control of the organization, but which exerts powerful influence over its functioning. This simply means that macro environment has a powerful influence on the organization functioning. Macro environment macro environment has the powerful functioning powerful impact on the functioning of functioning of the organization. Next, the external environment is the of the enterprise consists of individuals, groups, focus group, pressure group, agencies, organizations, events, conditions and forces which the organizations come into frequent contact in the course of its functioning. It establishes interacting and independent relations, conduct transactions, designs and administer appropriate strategies and policies to cope up with the fluctuations therein, and otherwise negotiates its way in the future. Macro environment macro environment analysis is also sometimes described as described as pestle analysis. Pestle analysis representing identification of political, economic, socio-cultural, socio-cultural, technological, and and technological, legal, and environmental influence on an organization on an organization. Let's continue. Demographic environment. The term demographics denotes the characteristics of population in an area, district, country, or in the world. It includes factors such as race, age, income, education attainment, asset ownership, home ownership, employment status, and location. Data with respect to these factors with the demographic variables and across households are of the interest to a businessman in addition to the economist. Marketers and other social scientists often group populations into categories based on the demographic variables in the society. Demographic environment. Changing age structure of the population, which age basically the whole age is bifurcated into various segments and just seeing that which age group has the maximum impact or presence in the population. Changing household patterns, geographic shift in the population. The people are shifting from the rural areas to urban areas or urban areas to uh, rural areas. Increasing diversity in the demography, better educated, more white collar, more professional population. So this was basically about demographic environment. Some of the demographic factors have great impact on the business. Factors such as general age, education, growth rate affect the business with the different magnitude. India has a relatively younger population as compared to some of the other countries. China, on the other hand, is having a aging population. Many multinationals are interested in India considering its size, the population size, with having approximately 16% of the world's population. The country holds huge potential for overseas companies. Business organizations need to study different demographic factors, particularly they need to address following issues. First, what demographic trends will affect the market size of the industry? What demographic trends represent opportunities or threats? The business, such as is concerned with the population size, age structure, geographic distribution, ethnic makeup, and distribution of income, while each of the major elements is discussed below. The challenge for strategies is to determine what the changes that have been identified in the demographic characteristics or elements of population imply for the future strategic competitiveness of the company. We will briefly discuss the few factors that are of the interest to a business. The first factor is population size, then we have geographic distribution, then we have ethnic mix, and at last we have income distribution. So these are the four factors we need to study. Let us begin with the first factor, that is population size. While population size itself, large or small population may be important to companies that require a critical mass of potential customers, changing in the specific makeup of a population size may have been more critical implications. Many foreign companies find India lucrative on account of its size. Among the most important changes in population size are changes in a nation's birth rate and of company's size, increase or declines in the total population, effect of rapid population growth of natural resources or food supplies. Changes in a nation population growth rate and life expectancy can have important implication on the companies. Just right over here, other products or service, specific factors, example, composition of infants in the locality, in case of businesses dealing in baby products. Let us continue. Geographic distribution. Population shift from one region to the nations to another or from non-metropolitan to metropolitan cities where have an impact on the company's strategic competitiveness. Issues that should be considered over here include the attractiveness of a company's location, may be influenced by the governmental support sometimes. Companies may have to consider relocation if population shift have a significant impact on the availability of qualified workforce. Third, the concept of working at home and commuting electronically on the information highway have been started in India. These may imply changes in recruiting and managing the workforce. Next is ethnic mix. This reflects the changes in the ethnic makeup of the population and has implications both for companies' potential customers and for the workforce. Issues that should be addressed over here include diversity. What do changes in the ethnic mix of population imply for products and service design and delivery? I repeat, what do changes in the ethnic mix of the population imply for products and services design and delivery? Will new products and services be demanded or can existing ones could be modified as per the requirement of the customer, as per the feedback of the customer? Are the managers prepared to manage a more culturally diverse workforce? How can the company position itself to take advantage of increased workforce heterogeneity? Reality: shampoo companies sell their products in bottles in residential areas, malls, while the same product is sold in sachets in hostel and rural areas. This is done because the hostel or rural areas, the pocket money disposable income is less as compared to the residential areas where people prefer buying large quantities of the same product. Next is income distribution. Changes in the income distribution are important because changes in the level of individual and group purchasing power and discretionary income often result in changes in spending, that is consumption, and savings pattern. Tracking, forecasting, and assessing changes in income patterns may identify new opportunities for companies. I believe it is clear till here. I believe it is clear. Let us move ahead. Economic environment. Economic environment. Economic environment refers to the nature and direction of an economy in which a company competes or may compete. It includes general economic situation in the region and the nation, conditions in resource market, men, money, material, machine and method. Men, money, material, machine and method, which influence the supply of inputs to the enterprise, their cost, quality, availability and reliability of supplies. Economic environment determines the strength and size of the market. Strength of the market and size of the market. The purchasing power of an economy depends on current location, price, savings, circulation of money, debt, and credit availability. Income distribution pattern determines the market possibilities. The important point to consider is to find out the effect of economic prospect and inflation on the operations of the firm. Let us continue. Right, economic environment includes the general economic situation in the region and the nation. Conditions in resource markets, money market, manpower market, which influence the supply of inputs, supply of inputs to the enterprise, their cost, quality, availability, and reliability of supplies. I believe it is clear. Economic environment, economic environment determines the strength and strength and size of the market, size of the market, the purchasing power, the marketing possibilities, the marketing possibilities through the marketing possibilities through factors like income distribution, taste and preferences, taste and preferences, of the market of the market. Let's move ahead. Factors that affect the economic environment. The first factor is economic systems. First is capitalism. A capitalist economy is an economy where the laws of demand and supply operates freely. The capitalist system is one which is characterized by private ownership of the means of production, individual decision making, and the use of market mechanism to carry out the decisions of individual participants and facilitate the flow of goods and services in the market. Another aspect is socialism. Socialism is generally understood as an economic system where the means of production, resources of production, are either owned and controlled by the state, that is government, and where the resource allocation, investment pattern, and consumption, income distribution, etc., is directly regulated by the state. Mixed economy. Mixed economy is the outcome of composite compromise between the two diametrically opposing school of thought. In a mixed economy, private, public, and joint sectors and the like all have some way in the major decisions that influence the functioning of the economy. These are followed by the four important economic roles played by the government in a mixed economy: regularity role, promotional role, entrepreneurial role, and planning role. So in mixed economy, both private sector and state join hands together, and basically mixed economy, there are features of socialism and capitalism. The next is economic conditions or factors. The economic conditions of a nation refers to set of economic factors that have great influence on the business organizations and their operations. These include gross domestic product, per capita income, markets for goods and services, availability of capital, foreign exchange reserve, growth of foreign trade, strength of capital market, interest rate, disposable income, unemployment, inflation, etc. Economic policies. All business activities and operations are directly influenced by the economic policies framed by the government from time to time. Some of the important economic policies are industrial policy. The industrial policy of the government covers all those principles, policies, rules, regulations, and procedures which are direct and control in the industrial enterprise of the country and shape the pattern of industrial development in the economy. Fiscal policy. It includes government policy in respect of the public expenditure, taxation, and public debt. Many a times it happens, many a times it happens that government wants to control the flow of money in the economy or increase the flow of money in the economy. In that case, if the government wants to control the flow of money in the economy, in that case, the taxation in the economy will be increased. So the public will have less disposable income with themselves, and there will be a less consumption in the economy. If the government want to increase the cash flow in the economy, the taxation rates should be decreased. That leads to more disposable income with the consumers, and they'll be able to buy more from the market. The next is monetary policy, that is about interest rate. It includes all those activities and interventions that aim at smooth supply of credit to the business and boost to trade and industry. If government wants to increase the money flow, in that case, the rate of interest in the economy will be decreased. The rate of interest, credit interest will be decreased so that the money flow will automatically increase in the market. If government wants to decrease the money flow or control the money flow in the market, in the economy, the rate of interest, credit interest is increased. I believe you understood it well. Next, foreign investment policy. This policy aims at regulating the inflow of foreign investment in various sectors for speeding up industrial development and take advantage of the modern technology. Export-import policy, EXIM policy. This policy aims at increasing exports and bridge the gap between the export and import. Export and import. Through this policy, the government announces various duties and levies. The focus now all days lies on removing barriers and control and lowering the custom duties. I believe it is clear. The next is political and legal environment. This is partly general to all similar enterprises and partly specific to some individual enterprises. It includes such factors as the general state of political development, the degree of politicization of business and economic issues, the level of political morality and law and order situation, political stability in the economy, political ideology and practices of the ruling party, the purposefulness and efficiency of governmental agencies, the extent and nature of governmental intervention in the economy and the industry. Government policies, that is fiscal, monetary, industrial, labor, EXIM policies, that is export import policies, specific legal enactment and framework in which the enterprise has to function, and the degree of effectiveness with which they are implemented, public attitude towards business in general and enterprise in particular, and so on. There are three important elements of political legal environment. First is government. Business is highly guided and controlled by government policies. Hence, the type of government running a country is a powerful influence on the business. A business has to consider the changes in the regulatory framework and their impact on the business. Taxes and duties are other critical areas that may be levied and affect the business. Example, the Indian government is promoting manufacturing sector through campaigns like Make in India. Legal, businesses prefer to operate in country where there is a sound legal system. However, in any country, businesses may have a good working knowledge of the major laws protecting consumers, competitions and organizations. Business must understand the relevant laws relating to companies, competition, intellectual property, foreign exchange, labor and so on. New GST law in India will influence most of the businesses. The next is political. Political pressure groups influence and limit the organizations. Apart from sporadic movements against certain products, services and organization, politics has deeply seeped into unions. Also, special interest groups and political action committees put pressure on business organizations and pay more attention to consumer rights, minority rights, and so on. I believe you understood this. The next is socio-cultural environment. This is too a general factor which influences almost all enterprises in a similar manner. It represents a complex of factors such as social traditions, values and beliefs of the organization, level and standards of literacy and education, the ethical standards and state of the society, the extent of social stratification, conflict, and cohesiveness, and so forth. Socio-cultural environment consists of factors related to human relationship and impact of social attitudes and cultural values which has bearing on the operations of the organizations. The belief, values and norms of the society determine how individuals and organizations should be interrelated. The core beliefs of a particular society tend to be persistence. This is difficult for the business to change these core values, which becomes a determinant of its functioning. Some of the important factors and influences operating in the socio-cultural environments are social concerns, such as the role of business in society, environmental pollution, corruption, use of mass media, consumerism, etc. Social attitudes and values such as expectation of social from business, social customs, beliefs, ritual practices, changing lifestyle patterns and materialism. Family structure and changes in it, attitude towards and within the family, and family values. Role of women in India, position of children and adolescents in family and society. Educational levels, awareness and consciousness of rights, and work ethics of member of society. The social environment primarily affects the strategic management process within the organization in the areas of mission and objective setting and decisions related to products and markets. Reality. The sale pattern in different parts of the country is different. For example, Diwali has a big impact in North, West, and Central India, whereas in Eastern India, major sales time is Durga Puja, and South, the regional festival dominate the maximum sales. So sales are also affecting because of the cultural factors like the festivals or the regional festivals. The next is technological factors. The most important factor which is controlling and changing people's life is technology. Man could realize the dream of walking on the moon, traveling in spaceship and giving to the other side of the globe within a few hours. With technology, this could be possible in the near future. So technology reaches people through people, increased productivity because of technology, spend on research and development, the change in technology, rise and decline of products, expectations of consumerism, social change because of the technology, professional managers, technostructure, jobs become more intellectual, regulation and opposition system complexity, demand for capital has increased. Technology has changed the way people communicate with the advent of internet and telecommunication systems. Technology has changed the way of how business operates now, and this is leading to many new business opportunities as well as making obsolete many existing systems. The following factors are to be considered for the technological environment. First, the pull of technological change. Second, the opportunities arising out of technological innovation, risk and uncertainty of technological development, role of research and development in a country and government's R&D budget. Technology can act as both opportunity and threat into the business. It can act as opportunity as business can take advantage of adopting technological innovations to their strategic advantage. However, at the same time, technology can act as a threat of organizations are not able to adapt their advantage. For example, an innovation and modern production system can act as threat if the business is not able to change its production system. Now, new entrants can always use availability of technological improvement in production or production methods that could be a threat to a business. The technology and business are highly interrelated with each other and they are interdependent on each other. Technology and business. The fruits of technological research and development are available to society through business only, and this also improves the quality of life of the society. Hence, technology is patronized by business. This again, then again, technology also drives business and make a total change on how it is carried out. Using technology, many organizations are able to reduce paperwork, schedule payments more efficiently, able to coordinate inventories efficiently and effectively. This helps to flatten companies and shrink time and distance, thus capturing a competitive advantage for the company. Because of the technological aspect are so important, some of the key questions that can be asked in assessing the technological environment are given over here. What are technologies? Both production and information technology used by the company. So in production, what kind of technology the company is using and what kind of information technology the company is using. Which technologies are utilized in the company's business, products and their parts. How critical is each technology to each of these products and businesses? Which external technologies might become critical and why? Will they remain available outside the company? What has been the investment in the product and is the process side of these technologies for the company and for the competitors, design, production, implementation and services. Which technological investment should be curtailed or eliminated? What additional technologies will be required in order to achieve business objectives? What are the implications of technology on business portfolios? So this was technological environment and few of the factors which affect the technology. The next is global environment. Today's competitive landscape requires that companies must analyze global environment as it is also rapidly changing. The concept of global village has changed how individuals and organizations relate to each other. Further, new migratory habits of workforce as well as increased offshore operations are changing in dynamics of business operations. Among the among the global environment, factors that should be assessed are first, potential positive and negative impact of significant international events such as sport meet or terrorist attack, identification of both important emerging global market and markets that are changing. This includes shift in the newly industrialized countries in Asia that may imply the opening of new markets for products or increased competition from emerging globally competitive companies. Differences between cultural and institutional attributes of individual global markets. Impact of technology. This is a tree image. Kindly try to understand. Accountability, globalization, accountability, terrorism, shrinking world, global village, technology, the internet, free trade, culture, capitalism, monopoly power, environment, poverty, growth, exploitation, brands, outsourcing, trade versus aid, recognition, communication, equality, integration of economies, globalization. Due to economic reforms, the Indian firms are also out to see beyond the physical boundaries of the country. They are acquiring businesses in different countries nowadays. The need to think and act from global perspective is universal. For a long time, businesses everywhere believed that home markets are adequate and safe. They never felt the need to explore the overseas market in a big way. If they could pick up some extra sales through exploiting these businesses were more than satisfied. The scenario is different now. The companies are increasingly interested in globalizing. Examples of macro environmental changes that business impact. Retail industry, rapid changes in production, rapid changes in production process and product innovation. Foreign direct investment, and policies thereon, changes in direct tax and indirect tax, inflation, interest rates, changes in employment, labor laws, demonstration effect of consumption, consumption pattern in other economies, developments in information technology that can help support supply chain management, logistics, and transportation and transportation. Next is automobile industry. Automobile industry, new research and development, new research and development, anti-pollution pressures, use of eco-friendly cars, use of alternative fuels, population population growth, population growth and age mix, population growth and age mix, rural urban ratio, changes changes in family structure, changes in changes in income levels, changes in import and excise duties, foreign direct investments, FDIs, foreign direct investment, FDI, financing financing facilities at low interest rate at low interest rates, next is education industry, changes in government policies, proposed proposed higher education and research outlays and research outlays, privatization of higher education, availability of soft loans for higher professional education, attitude towards education, attitudes towards education, growth of information technology, growth of information technology with respect to online learning, online learning, e-learning modules, e-learning modules, mobility of students, mobility of students, income, job opportunities, job opportunities. The next is pestle analysis. The term pestle is used to describe a framework for analysis of macro environmental factors. Pestle analysis involves identifying the political, economic, socio-cultural, technological, legal and environmental influences on an organization and providing the ways of scanning the environment in influences that have affected or are likely to affect an organization or its policy. Pestle analysis is an increasingly used and recognized term, replacing the traditional framework for monitoring environment known as pest analysis. Pestle is an acronym for P political, E economic, S social, socio-cultural, T technological, L legal, and E that is environmental. The pestle analysis is simple to understand and quick to implement in an organization. The advantage of this tool is that it encourages management into proactive and structured thinking in its decision making. Political environment. Pressure groups, NGOs, influential organizations. Technological environment opportunities arising, risk and uncertainties. Economic environment, that is prices, savings, level of disposable income. Social environment, that is traditions, beliefs, literacy rates and values. Legal environment, that is business and corporate laws, employment laws. Environmental, that is economic hazards, wasteful disposal, etc. Key factors. Political factors are how and to what extent the government intervenes in an economy and the activities of business firms. Political factors may also influence goods and services which the government wants to provide or be provided, and those that the government does not want to provide. Furthermore, governments have great influence on health, education, infrastructure of a nation. If there would be a political stability in the economy in any country, in that case the business firms will flourish. Economic factors have more impacts on how business operate and take decisions. For example, interest rates affect a firm's cost of capital. Therefore, to what extent a business grows and expands, exchange rate affects the cost of exporting goods and the supply and price of imported goods in an economy. The money supply, inflation, credit flow, per capita income, growth rates have a bearing on the business decisions. Social factors such as that affect the demand of an economy products, how the company operates in the society. Cultural aspects, festivals, values and beliefs and belief etc have an impact on the spending and consumption patterns and also the timing and size of size of demand for specified type of goods. Lifestyle trends, demographics, consumer attitude and opinions. Brand, company image and technology. These all will act as a drivers for change. Consumer buying pattern, ethnic, religious factors, media views and and perceptions. The next is technological factors. Technological factors can determine the barriers to entry, minimum efficient production level, influence outsourcing decision. Furthermore, technological shift can affect the cost, quality, and lead to innovation. The next is legal factors. Legal factors affect how a company operates, its cost, and demand for its products. Environmental factors. Environmental factors affect industries such as tourism industry, farming, and insurance. Growing awareness to climate change is affecting how companies operate and the products they offer. It is both creating new markets and diminishing or destroying existing ones. On the basis of these factors, it should be possible to identify a number of key environmental influences which are in effect the drivers of change. These are the factors that require to be considered in the matrix when transpose the final items that have been identified from your list to the pastel matrix are shown over here. The pastel matrix first is political, political stability, political principles and ideology, current and future taxation policy, regulatory bodies and processes, government policies, government terms and change, thirst area of political leaders, economic, economy situation and trends, market and trade cycles, specific industry factors, consumer end user drivers, interest and exchange rates, inflation and employment, strength of consumer spending. The next is social, lifestyle trends, demographics, consumer attitude and opinion, brand, company, technology image, consumer buying patterns, ethnic religious factors, media views and perception. The next is technological, replacement technology solutions, maturity of technology, manufacturing maturity and capacity, innovation potential, technology access, licensing, patents, etc., intellectual property rights and copyrights. The next is legal, business and corporate laws, employment laws, competition law, health and safety law, international threat and law, and regulatory legislation. Environmental, economic and environmental issues, environmental hazards, environmental legislation, energy consumption, and waste disposal. These are a list of pastel metrics. The next topic is strategic response to the environment. The business organization and its many environments have enormous interrelationships. At that times, it becomes difficult to determine exactly where the organization ends and where the organization begins. It is also difficult to determine exactly what business should do in response to particular situation in the environment. Strategically, the business should make efforts to exploit the opportunities and overcome the threats. In context, in this context, the following approaches may be followed. First is least resistance. Some businesses just manage to survive by way of coping with their challenging environmental external environments. They are simple goal maintaining units. They are very passive in their behavior and are solely guided by the signals of the external environment. They are not ambitious but are content with taking simple paths to least resistance, their goal seeking and resource transformation behavior. Example BSNL, Bharat Sanchar Nigam Limited. Proceed with caution. At the next level are the businesses that take an intelligent interest to adapt with the changing external environment. They seek to monitor the changes in that environment, analyze their impact on their own goals and activities, and translate their assessments in terms of specific strategies of survival, stability, and strength. They regard that the pervasive complexity and turbulence of the external environment elements as given within the framework of which they have to function as adaptive organic subsystem. This is an admittedly sophisticated strategy that then to wait for changes to occur and then take corrective adaptive actions. For example, Airtel. Dynamic response at a still higher level are those businesses that regard the external environmental forces as partially manageable and controllable by their actions. Their feedback systems are highly dynamic and powerful. They are merely recognize and ward off threats. They convert threats into opportunities. They are highly cautious and confident of their own strength and weaknesses of their external environmental adversaries. For example, Vodafone. I believe you understood till here. Let us continue. Business responses to environment. First, right administrative response. Administrative response. Administrative response are aimed at defining the entity's purpose and key task in relationship to particular environment. These includes the clarification of the entity's vision and mission, the development of objectives, policies, and budgets. Next, the creation of environmental scanning units. These responses, these administrative responses can be either proactive or reactive, proactive or reactive, competitive response. The next is competitive response, competitive response. Competitive response seek to enhance the entity's performance, entity's performance by establishing by establishing a competitive advantage over its rivals, over its rivals. To sustain competitive advantage, entities must achieve an must achieve an external position, external position vis-a-vis their competitors, their competitors, or perform internally, perform internally in ways that are unique, in ways that are unique, valuable, and difficult to imitate, difficult to imitate. Competitive response include method like bargaining, like bargaining, contracting, co-opting, and and creating partnerships, LLPs, joint ventures, federations, strategic alliance, and and consortia, and consortia. Delete the third point, that is competitive response, and write it again. Write it again. Delete the third point, that is competitive response, and write it again. Competitive response. Competitive response are generally associated with associated with generally are associated with for profit firms but can also apply to to government and other not for profit entities also. I believe you understood till here. I believe you understood. Let's move ahead. Collective response. Collective response. So we have understood administrative response, competitive response, and now we are shifting to collective response. Business entities business entities can cope with problems of environmental dependence and uncertainty and uncertainty through through increased coordination through increased coordination with other entities. This can help control interdependencies among entities. Next point is collective response. Collective response includes methods like bargaining, contracting, co-opting, and creating partnerships, LLPs, limited liability partnership, joint ventures, federations, strategic alliance, and consortia. Next, such arrangements help entities to manage to manage environmental uncertainty and perform tasks that are too costly tasks that are too costly and complicated complicated for single entities complicated for single entities to perform single entities to perform. I believe you understood. I believe you understood this. Let us move ahead. SWOT analysis. The next is SWOT analysis. Strength, strength, strength is an inherent capacity. Strength is an inherent capacity which a firm which a firm can use to gain strategic advantage, gain strategic advantage over its competitors, over its competitors. Example, example, superior research and development skills which can be used which can be used for for new product development for new product development so that the company gains competitive advantage company gains competitive advantage, huge production infrastructure, leading to leading to mass production and economies of scale and economies of scale. This was strength, weakness, weakness. Weakness is an inherent limitation or constraint which creates a disadvantage strategic disadvantage. Example, example, Overdependence. Overdependence on a single product. Overdependence on a single product line or single customer or single supplier, which is potentially risky, which is potentially risky for a firm for a firm in times of crisis. In times of crisis. Opportunities. Opportunities. Opportunity is a favorable condition is a favorable condition. Opportunity is a favorable condition in the firm's environment which enables it to consolidate and strengthen its position and strengthen its position. Example: increase in consumer income. Increase in consumer income and growing demand and growing demand for the products or services that a company provides that a company provides. Threats. Threat is an unfavorable condition in which firm's environment which creates a risk for or causes damage to the firm. Example: emergence of strong new competitor who are who are likely to offer stiff competition to the existing companies to the existing companies Let's see what we have done in today's class. Let's quickly see what we have done in today's class. We began with the elements of macro environment, that is demographic environment. Then we have seen the demographic environment in detail. Then we shifted to economic environment, socialism, capitalism, and mixed economy. After that, we have done political and legal environment. Both the environments are interrelated. We shifted to social and cultural, that is socio-cultural environment. Then we shifted to technological environment. We have seen this technological environment in detail, and global environment. Global environment. We have understood the examples of macro environmental changes that business impact, retail industry, automobile industry, and education industry. We have seen the pestle analysis in detail, that is political, economic, socio-cultural, technological, legal, and environmental. We have seen this pestle metrics, strategic response to the environment. In the context following approaches, we have noted least resistance, proceed with caution, dynamic response, business responses to environment, administrative response to the business environment, competitive response to the business environment, and collective response to the business environment. At last, we have seen SWOT analysis with examples. We have understood the meaning of strength with examples. We have seen the example of research and development skills, weakness, over dependency, opportunities which is there in the market, and at last threats which associates to the business or organization. We are stopping here. We are stopping here. Thank you. Thank you.